Hello, we continue video. Today we're gonna take a look at Yveltal with the new move Sucker Punch in the Open Water League. This Pokemon is usually something that you don't really see here, but as it's one of the best Pokemon for the Open Master League, it must be very good for the Ultra League as well, right? We don't have the option yet to take a look at this Pokemon for the Great League, which I really would like to do. I actually think that the Shadow variant should be definitely below that as well. So maybe when we get the Shadow Yveltal eventually, we're gonna be able to take a look at this one for the Open Water League. What was actually the next Shadow Pokemon? Very likely gonna be like Heatran or something for Giovanni. So it's going to be still taking quite a while until we're gonna have this Pokemon here for the Great League. But today, again, Ultra League going to be here. We're going to have a team that is quite classic. I really want to take a look at again here the Nidoqueen, and we're going to have as our say swap quite lame the Manabus, and I kinda regret Manabus, and we can talk about this a bit more as well here today. I feel like Manabus was a bit of, I wouldn't say letdown. Like, this Pokemon definitely worked. Like, don't get me wrong, this Pokemon definitely worked out super well and was a strong Pokemon to use, and I would really recommend you to build yourself like a Manabus for the Open Water League. Kinda the issue here for me is just it took quite longer than it needed to, and it also didn't really give me the kind of style of team that I really usually aim for, where my say-sub is going to be able to just do a lot against like basically anything. Like for Manabus here, this Pokemon has quite a lot of play against nearly everything, don't get me wrong, like you have a lot of play with Aerial Ace plus Dark Pulse. But I would have really rather used something like Greninja as a say-sub for this team. We have like very good fast move damage, very good charge move damage with like Hydro Cannon, and like nothing that really takes a long time or anything like this, because I feel like this would be a bit better for this team. But anyway, we are stuck here with the Manabus, and Manabus definitely was a solid Pokemon, just not really the style that I would like to aim for with some teams that I usually build. Anyway, we're going to have the Manabus matchup here in the lead, which I kind of put on here actually on purpose because it's going to be a very long game, and it's kind of ideal for starting to talk a bit about the team here in the beginning. We're going to have in the back here as our closer the Yveltal, the star of this of this team here, of course, which is going to be able to go for the signature move Oblivion Wing and do a tremendous amount of damage against the opponent's Pokemon here. While it's going to go down, I still think we're going to be in a very solid spot here, as we can try to go for an Aerial Ace. It does not work out, as the opponent can still go for the Aqua Tail, but we can swap out now, as we expect the opponent to swap out as well into their Manabus, and so this game is going to be over now finally, as we are going to be able to go for that Poison Fang, knock them out, and also the time is going to take down, and we win because of the timeout. Next opponent, we're going to have the Talonflame in the lead. This is going to be more of an interesting matchup here anyway. We're going to be able to go for 7 fast moves and go for 1 Poison Fang. That is kind of ideal for us. We should be also able to outspeed them to the next Poison Fang, and so I think on the 2-shield scenario you're always going to be able to win this as a Nidoqueen, and honestly Nidoqueen is really decent in the Ultra League right now. I feel like this Pokemon is kind of underrated, but definitely something that I should have try to have here for this team is a hard answer to Feraligatr. The amount of Feraligatr that I saw swapping in was kind of ridiculous, but all of them are running Ice Beam, of course, and so my backline is kind of struggling a bit against that. As you're gonna see as well, they're going to be able to 2-shot me with an Ice Beam, and that's not really ideal, and so we try to rely on our Aerial Aces here to try to knock them out. We're going to use a shield against the opponent again. It's going to be a Hydro Cannon, and so if they want to, they might be able to even realign. Here, fast move timing, not ideal by me, for sure not. I could have played this way better, but I'm still going to try to basically take 1 fly here. I'm very certain a fly does not knock me out from this range, and so I will be able to go for the full farm down with 2 Sucker Punches here from the Yveltal, keeping all my health on the Pokemon as well. And we will see here in the back now the Virizion swapping in. We have access to Oblivion Wing, which does double super effective damage, which it would easily one-shot the opponent, like easily a one-shot here for sure. Oblivion Ring is doing quite a lot of damage, but the opponent decides to go for another charge move in a time where I did not really expect that they would be able to get there yet. And so we are forced to go for the Oblivion Ring here and hope that there's going to be enough to knock them out, which it is. They let the move go through, and now it's down to Nidoqueen against the Feraligatr, and it's looking very solid for us, just generally speaking. But is it actually solid? It would have. If I went for the charge move here, I would have been able to go for a charge move here as well, and I would have been able to win the battle. My mistake, I needed to win this battle, but it's just like misplay by me. Next opponent, we're going to have a great lead and also a great say-sub for us. We're going to have here the Pangoro, which can struggle against both of our Pokemon in the back. And here, maybe even Air Slash would have been a beneficial move on the Manabus compared to Snarl. But yeah, we're gonna still swap out into that Manabus here against the opponent. Yes, they have access to close combo, which does quite some decent damage. but I'm fairly certain that they're not going to do enough to even two-shot us, and we can go for the aerial ace, knock out the opponent's Pangoro, and are definitely in a very solid space now. Let's see what the opponent's gonna bring in next. It's going to be the Clefable, which you can definitely try to align our Nidoqueen against again as well here. That's going to be a very solid matchup. Clefable, quite a common pick, so definitely be sure that your team is prepared for this Pokemon here, because I would imagine that you're going to encounter it quite often as well. The aerial ace is gonna get them kind of low, and so we're gonna try our best to let them go through here. If it's a Swift, we can easily still survive, and that did way less damage than the opponent most likely expected as well. What we had here as well, which you saw already, is a lot of frame drops. I saw a lot of comments on online as well, like on Twitter or whatever. Basically, every Android phone has insane frame drops right now. A lot of the Apple users say it's fine for them, so let me know in the comment section right now, how is it for you? Are you like an Apple user, and do you also have frame drops still for Pokemon Go? I hear that Apple is kind of nearly perfect, and Android is like really having problems right now, so not really ideal. But anyway, we're going to have here Tentacruel against us, which is going to be a great matchup, as we're going to be able to take a Scald, try to go for the full farm down here, and now we're going to end up with a ton of energy, which is going to be great against that Clefable, as we can go for the Oblivion Wing. They let the move go through, and we can win the battle. Next opponent here is going to be a home-size Henry, horrible lead for us. Like, literally worst possible lead that we could imagine. We swap out into our Mandibuzz just to get greeted here by the Miltank. This is a matchup that we cannot win as well here. They either have Thunderbolt or Ice Beam, which are, I think, exactly the same kind of moves. But yeah, depends on what the opponent is going to run here. Doesn't honestly really matter for the team here. Thunderbolt is super effective, Ice Beam is super effective. Ice Beam is a bit more tricky actually for my lead matchup, so I guess there is a bit of a change to it. But at the end of the day, I know I will not be able to realign myself here at this point, but also I know that my lead is not going to be able to get up against the Pokemon you kind of want to have it up against, if there's something in the back that would be good for our Nidoqueen. And so for me, the ideal scenario for me is just to try to get as much energy as possible. Maybe swap out with an Earth Power stored for maybe later on, and then hope that Yveltal either going to be able to completely destroy the opponent, or stall enough time here basically that I can swap back in, as it's now only a 50-second timer compared to before the 60-second timer. We still have a very solid chance here. As I go for the Oblivion Wing, it's sadly not enough to put them into farm down range even, and so it is not really looking too good. Orcotail is coming through. We're gonna let the first one go through here, as we now forced to of course use shields against any other upcoming move. Orcotail is coming through again. We try our best to go for the Oblivion Wing. We should went straight for the Oblivion Wing here, most likely to try to force a shield from the opponent, but now they can swap out into the Golurk. I was expecting that I can still survive the Shadow Punch here, which I cannot, and so sadly I am going to lose this battle. Anyway, next opponent, we're going to encounter Greninja in the lead. That's going to be a fine for our backline. We can stay in for a bit, do a bit of damage, and try to catch a move here, while being able to sneak in an extra free fast move. Hydro Cannon is not going to do too much damage against us either, and so it's now down to the aerial ace spam, but they decided to go into the muck, and honestly, there was a bit of a time here, I think now. I don't know if it's directly afterwards, but there was somewhere definitely where I felt like there was a bit of lag involved, where the opponent had a bit of a benefit from that, and we want to see as well later on here where this might matter. But I definitely do remember that there was lag in this matchup, but I don't know when this actually occurred. We're gonna see. Oh, here we were standing still for a bit. And this was able to allow the opponent basically to go for a charge move at a time before I could get to my own charge move. And so we're forced now to go into our Nidoqueen. I try my best to go for the Poison Fang again. I actually went for the charge move, one fast move earlier on, but it just didn't re-register. And it's just like clunkiness of the game. It didn't even register anything. I didn't even get a fast move through, I didn't get my charge move through, like nothing even worked here. It is just frustrating, I have to say. I don't really want to complain on the entire time there, but of course it is just frustrating to try to play in a game right now where the PvP system barely really functions. And this is kind of sad here as well. Like, you saw me trying to swap out there again from my Nidoqueen. I definitely hit the button there as well, but just didn't want me to swap out there yet, which at the end of the day didn't really matter, because I was able to catch a Night Slash, which is really cool. But now we have to hope that somehow that Yveltal is going to be able to win the battle. We were able to shield up the Hydro Cannon from the opponent, as we are going to go ahead and go for the Oblivion Wing, doing a tremendous amount of damage, but we have to rely basically onto our Nidoqueen in order to have a chance of winning this battle. Skull is coming through, going to knock us out basically here, and we're gonna have to go for the Earth Power in order to knock them out, as a Poison Jab and Poison Fang there will not be enough to knock them out at all. And so this is going to be a nice one-shot, but sadly they're gonna farm me down with that Greninja. Moving on to the next opponent, we're going to have a lovely lead here. We're going to have the Weezing in the lead, which is going to be a matchup that we kind of need to have. But they swap onto the Tentacruel, and here's the funny thing as well. I can just go ahead and go for the bait. And if they're going to use a shield here, which is great, we're just going to have a very good spot. But even without that, we would have had a very solid spot anyway, because now we do so much damage against them. They decided to go for an acid spray, which is lovely for us, because at least we didn't use a shield here. But now we're going to be kind of forced to use some shields, as they're going to go for the Scald, get also the attack drop onto me, which is kind of ridiculous, but at least I can still go for the Oblivion Ring, force a shield or the knockout against the opponent. We're going to take the knockout here, and let's see what they want to... Oh, actually there's a way with a 1 HP, but luckily they decided to go for another acid spray, not knocking us out, just getting us low. And so in comes here again the Weezing. I can try my best to go into the Nidoqueen and win the battle. Nidoqueen against Weezing is one of the main reasons as well why I decided to go for Nidoqueen, because Weezing would be very difficult for my backline to deal with otherwise, and with the Nidoqueen in the lead you have a hard answer to it, which is kind of cool. Anyway, the opponent is going to now have also Skuntank here, which we were able to go ahead and go for an Earth Power against, doing some double, like some single super effective damage. The only typing that actually does hit those poison and dark type Pokemon for super effective damage is the ground typing. And so I feel like ground type is very, very important for the current meta, by the way. And any kind of ground type that can also deal with something like Feraligatr is definitely Pokemon that you really want to have for the Ultra League. Anyway, we're going to be able to go for the Aerial Ace here, doing some very solid damage. And as you're going to see here, another Aerial Ace is coming through, is going to be able to connect, does get the shield here, and so we are going to be in a spot where the opponent has no way of really winning, and another Aerial Ace is going to connect, gonna get the knockout, and we can win this battle and move on to the next opponent. One issue for this team is for sure the Lostheart, and here Greninja would have not helped me either. What would have helped me if the Poison Fang would get nerfed back basically to what it was before. If it goes back to 35 energy, I feel like it would be an interesting one for sure. I think about 35-35 right now is 40-40, so like damage and energy. But also you have a lot of very good poison type Pokemon around right now anyway, so I don't really need, like I don't think we really need another buff to poison type Pokemon currently. I think it's very cool meta that we're currently in anyway there. But we definitely would appreciate some buffs towards Pokemon that can beat Feraligatr, as Feraligatr is one of the strongest Pokemon to run right now. It is definitely a Pokemon that can be a bit too overpowered. I could actually see them trying to nerf the move Hydro Cannon a bit to like 75 damage, which still would make it very, very strong. But yeah, that's going to be something more safe for the future for Niantic to decide. But anyway, we're going to see here the Tentacruel against us. They might be able to go for a Blizzard. We used the shield against the Scald before. And yes, they have the Blizzard to knock me out. And yeah, we are not really in a great spot. And again, I'm not too happy about like the man boss for this team. I feel like there would have been other options that would have been a bit better. What I feel like would be actually the ideal way would have been to use the elite of the Yveltal, or of course Mandibus if you want to be a bit bulkier, have the Say Swap of the Galarian Weezing, and have in the back the Nidoqueen. I think this would have made more sense here for this team, but this is something that you only really can notice, of course, when you play the team for a bit, and so it's always kind of important to give a team a bit of a try, see what kind of issues this team has, and then try to adapt for it later on. Anyway, we're going to see here the Oblivion Ring coming in against the opponent's Clefable, and this is going to be great, as now we can let the Media Mesh go through and just lose the battle, because why not? Next opponent, Lostheart again. I said it before already, this Pokemon is kind of a pain for me to deal with. Like, I really don't enjoy battling up against Lostheart, especially with the backline that we have. It is quite a good core breaker here, doing some neutral damage against our lead, but definitely doing quite some solid damage against our backline there, where we can't really retaliate against them. But here, as we got the opponent very, very low, one Aerial Ace is all it takes to knock them out, and so I'm fairly certain that the Mandibus here is going to go ahead and go to try to take the knockout, but they actually decided to go for another charge move here as well. Another Dragon Claw is coming through, and we can try our best here, having a ton of energy stored already for later on, and this is going to be huge, as now the Lostheart is going to go down. We have a shield disadvantage, but they're going to reveal that they have a Scale in the back, and taking a look at our team and taking a look at Scale, we see that there is definitely a way of dealing with this Pokemon. Our entire team has something super effective against them, and so that is going to be a great one for us, as they decide to go up to one-hand energy, all totally fine. Of course, as we're gonna let the move go through, we're gonna decide now to maybe actually use a shield here. Never mind, I'm gonna be able to catch a move, which is going to be, of course, that disarming voice doing some super effective damage. And so we are still in a spot where we can have definitely some fun and try our best as we're gonna try to go for one Poison Fang to knock out the opponent, but they decide to let the move go, shield basically. And the opponent has in the back another Ghost type. And so we are in a prime position to win this battle. We have basically loaded energy Yveltal here, which can knock out the first Pokemon, and the second one is just going to be in range for 1 or 2 more fast moves, and so we are going to be able to win this battle quite easily. Final battle for today, we're going to have a great lead here for us. We're going to have the lead of the Weezing as I swap onto the Feraligatr. I'm going to try my best to go for the Poison Fang before they can go for a charge move, which usually is not the case, because they need 5 fast moves to get to 1 charge move, and here we need a bit more than that. But yeah, it's still going to be fine. We're going to see the Ice Beam coming through against the Mandibuzz. It doesn't do 2 damage, so like not half of the damage, I mean, which is kind of nice, so we would be able to take another one if we really wanted to. But also, why would you risk it? Like, you're going to have a lot of Shadow Claw damage coming up against the Mandibuzz here, and so we decided to use a shield in order to keep this one alive. In comes the Weezing, and we can swap back into our Nidoqueen as well to try to kind of hard counter the opponent here, which is kind of needed as well. And here's the thing, I could decide to go for the Poison Fang, but I feel like it is more important to go for the direct damage with the Earth Power. As the opponent only has 1 shield, they really have to consider where they want to use it on, and I decided to use it actually not on this matchup here at all. I decided to go for the Earth Power here. This is going to be enough to knock them out for sure. So let's see what they're gonna do. Let the move go through. We're gonna see the Greninja coming in. And Greninja is not really ideal, but at least we're gonna be able to get 1 move off. And if we would get a shield, this would be lovely, but they decide to let the move go through, which is quite a pain there as well. We decided to go for a charge move. They decided to go for a charge move. It's going to be a Night Slash, which is a very cool bait here from the opponent, as I did not expect it at all, like having Night Slash against like those Dark-type Pokemon. Very, very ballsy, but apparently paid off. And something else that definitely paid off for them as well is that we're going to be able to go for a charge move here. We have a charge move stored, and so we should be able to win the battle, right? You have a Greninja against a legendary Pokemon. A legendary Pokemon is definitely going to be a bit squishier, right? Wrong, apparently. Greninja is going to be able to win the CMP tie here, and sadly this is going to be the loss for us. This is going to be also it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.